news at the right time and the Spirit of Community Award winner. This is Fox 14 News at 5:30.
A DOTD worker killed on the job. What went wrong and how the victim's co-workers say it could have all been avoided. And a group of lawmakers are demanding an explanation from the president about his decision to send more troops to the Middle East. Plus, celebrating the emancipation will take you to the Juneteenth commemoration at MONROE's African American Museum. Thank you for choosing Fox 14. I'm Sarah Scarlett. First on Fox, preventing cone zones from becoming deadly zones. Police say a driver not paying attention is to blame for striking and killing a DOTD highway worker yesterday. Fox 14's Maya Hudgens had a one-on-one conversation with a witness who was among the first on the scene. Maya?
Sarah, when it comes to construction zones, we all need to remember that others people's lives are on the line. A crash took the life of a DOTD worker yesterday as he and his partner were checking road signs. State police say the driver of an 18-wheeler did not notice the work truck stopped in the road lane. Upon collision, Brian, who didn't want to show his face, was first on the scene.
As soon as I heard the 18-wheeler hit the DOT truck, I knew what had happened.
Louisiana state troopers want to remind motorists to slow down and be aware of their surroundings at all times in a construction zone. This is the first death of a DOTD worker since 2017. 11 people died in work zones in Louisiana that year. Coming up at 6, hear what else is said about the crash scene and how you can keep yourself and others safe in construction zones. Live in the Media Control Center, Maya Hudgens, Fox 14 News.
Thanks, Maya. New information. In the past couple of months, black bears have been spotted in more areas than just in the woods. Take a look at this video that a viewer caught of 2 bears in South Crossett. Folks have reported seeing the bears walking around in their backyards, and they're not just in Crossett. The El Dorado Police Department received a number of calls overnight of black bears being sighted within city limits.
Bear just casually made its way towards the ball fields, and then the last sighting was near the walking trails off of 19th Street. This is not an uncommon thing to see in the city. We're starting to see more of that throughout some of these urban areas.
Staff at Felsenthal National Wildlife Refuge spoke with Fox 14's Gabrielle Pfeiffer. She'll tell you what they recommend to do if you see a bear and some things you can do to minimize their curiosity coming up at 9. In news from our nation's capital, a group of lawmakers have sent a letter to President Trump calling for an explanation of his decision to deploy even more troops to the Middle East. Senator Tim Kaine says the group fears that escalating tensions will lead to unnecessary conflict and casualties. Bree Jackson reports on the latest reaction in Washington.
The Trump administration says the latest deployment of U.S. troops to the Middle East is in response to attacks on U.S. tankers. Senator Rick Scott says Iran is at fault and must be held accountable.
This is all up to Iran. I mean, they're the ones that are making the decision to interrupt the shipping channels by bombing the ships.
But Senator Tim Kaine says there's plenty of blame to go around for the increased tensions.
In part by Iran, in part by Saudi Arabia, and in part by the United States.
Kaine says sending more American troops to the region may only make matters worse.
But the United States needs to stop pouring gasoline on this fire.
Kaine and 5 other senators, including 2 Republicans, sent this letter to the president demanding answers. They want more information about the threats posed by Iran and where U.S. armed forces will be deployed. President Trump says he doesn't want war, but he does want to send Iran a clear message. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy supports the president's actions.
We applaud him from actually moving aircraft carriers, moving planes, and now moving individuals to make sure Iran does not get their way.
But Kaine wants assurance the White House won't take military action unless Congress weighs in.
And it's time for the United States to take steps to de-escalate tension.
Kaine and others want a full report to Congress on Iran by the end of June. In Washington, Bree Jackson.
In the ArkLamis, several organizations are commemorating Juneteenth with special ceremonies. Fox 14's Ashley French is back from the Northeast Louisiana Delta African American Museum with more on its festivities. Ashley?
Sarah, this day is celebrated across America as a historic day that saw the end of more than 200 years of slavery. The Northeast Louisiana Delta African American Museum invited students from the New Visions Learning Academy out to take a look around the museum. The museum houses different pictures and artifacts that paint a picture of the past. The kids were also treated to an historic lesson by a special guest.
This is our 4th of July. That's why Juneteenth is so important, because Juneteenth is the day that we all finally realized and knew and were aware of the fact that we are free. So this is our 4th of July.
The Northeast Louisiana African American Museum will be hosting a number of events celebrating Juneteenth this week, including a jazz event this Friday called Jazz In. The doors open at 7 p.m. You can get your ticket to fun for $25. Reporting in studio, Ashley French, Fox 14 News.
Thanks, Ashley. Today is National Garbage Day, where men and women are celebrated and recognized by the Samoan Civic and Social Club, along with the City of Monroe Public Works Department. Each one in attendance of today's event were given gifts and awards for their outstanding work. And it's what they do daily to keep Monroe safe and clean.
Garbage and trash pickup is a necessity in any city, you know. So we just trying to give the garbage men a day that we celebrate them for all the hard work that they do.
Several years ago, a young man named John Arwood created the National Garbage Day to raise awareness for garbage men and women who are important to the quality of life for our cities and homes. The contestants for the Miss Louisiana pageant took to the runway at the Conlin Mall today. The ladies had a little fun strutting their stuff on a not-so-serious runway at the Dillard Style Show. Each of the contestants walked the runway with their own little fleur-de-lis princesses, all decked out in style. Tomorrow marks the first official night of competition. Contestants have been participating in events all week leading up to the big event. Today was about fun and fashion for the kids and the adults.
Makes me so excited for Saturday to see who's going to be Miss Louisiana. They're all so different and also great in their own ways, and they all care about different things, and each of them would be a good Miss Louisiana for a different reason. I just can't wait to see which one we choose.
Now, this is the last day for contestants to unwind before competition gets underway tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the Monroe Convention Center. Coming up on Fox 14, the 2020 election now in full swing after the president kicks off his campaign in Florida. We'll have that story coming up, but first, Jared has a look at the forecast. Jared?
Thanks, Sarah. Tornado watch already in effect for portions of the Arklamis, and baseball-sized hail already being reported in northeastern Texas. Now, could we see that? Possibly, but our threats are a little different. We'll take a look at the forecast as Fox 14 News at 5:30 continues.
News sponsored by Interstate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Who will win the Twin City Outdoor Yard of the Year contest and receive these incredible prizes valued at $6,000? Be watching this Thursday on NBC 10 News at 6 when we'll announce the grand prize winner. Brought to you by Twin City Outdoor Equipment.
The Twin City Mayor's Committee on Disabilities is holding a fundraising banquet to recognize our scholarship recipients and to honor individuals and businesses that advocate for the disabled in Ouachita Parish. Join us July 16th, 6 to 9 p.m. in the West Monroe Convention Center. Get your tickets today.
Russell, Russell, Russell.
Is the open road calling your name? Some guys were born truck drivers. Be trained and certified in just 16 days. Classes are available to get you on the path to your new career. CDL training, third-party testing, safety training, job placement, and financing available. See the world and get paid for doing it. Don't let life pass you by. Call Coastal right now. Exit 101 in Calhoun.
Hey, how was your week? My in-laws were in town.
I got a standing desk.
I tried quinoa.
I took the dog to the groomer.
Make your weekends more exciting than the days before them.
We drove 3 hours to the kids' swim meet.
Right now, get $1,000 customer cash, plus a $1,000 special edition bonus on a new 2019 Tacoma Special Edition. Toyota, let's go places.
I know you've seen my billboards around town. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I've been trying to get your attention. I'm Morris Park. You know who I am, and you know what to do. One call or click. That's it.
It's spring cleaning time at Bobby Williamson Flooring and Home Improvement.
80-ounce plush carpet, $180. 3x6 subway tile, $239. Sheet vinyl starting at just 69 cents.
All with 12-month no-interest financing at Bobby Williamson.
Fox 14 News at 5:30 continues.
Well, the president is officially back in election mode after kicking off his 2020 campaign for another 4 years in the White House. Fox News correspondent Jackie Heinrich has the story from South Florida.
President Trump returning to Washington this afternoon after a rousing campaign kickoff last night in Orlando, close to the anniversary of when he launched his 2016 bid 4 years ago.
We are going to keep on working. We are going to keep on fighting. And we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning.
President Trump announcing his 2020 ambitions in Florida, a battleground state he'll likely need to carry to secure another 4 years in the Oval Office. The president not missing an opportunity to take shots at Democrats who'd like to unseat him.
A vote for any Democrat in 2020 is a vote for the rise of radical socialism and the destruction of the American dream.
An estimated 20,000 supporters on hand for the president's speech. Some of them say he's grown on them since his first run for the White House.
He's a straight shooter, and he's getting the job done. And the first time I voted for him, I was apprehensive. He was the last guy I wanted to vote for.
I think he really believes in the message. I don't think it's just politics. I think he really believes in America.
Outside the arena, hundreds of anti-Trump protesters showing up to make their voices heard, foreshadowing a fierce battle for the White House in the coming year. Among the president's campaign promises for 2020, a new immigration system, trade deals, and a health care overhaul. In Doral, Florida, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
On a different note, Jared joins us with a check on the weather. You said baseball-size hail?
In northeastern Texas, yes. And like I said, our threat kind of shifts a little bit as we go into the late night hours. Tornado watch in effect, but that's not even our biggest threat. Full look at the forecast coming up next.
Captain D's new Fire grilled seafood. It's premium whole fish fillets and shrimp without the premium price. It's bold flavors like lemon pepper, blackened, and signature seasoning. Fire means flavor when the captain is covered. Captain D's.
Hey, that's Greg, the Go Auto guy. Hey, Greg, can you really save us money on our car insurance?
You bet I can. Let's compare rates and get a quote. Just answer a few simple questions. Call to get a quote, go online, or come into any Go Auto store.
Wow, you can save me money. I want in.
So just give us a call.
Who was that?
Only my new best friend.
Ready, set, go, go, go Auto.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Finley. We know that there are a lot of people who just do not want to go to the dentist. Well, if that's you, we have a place where you can come and get what you do want. All the dentistry that you need without the fear and anxiety. Our doctors and staff will take away any embarrassment you might have about your mouth. IV sedation can help you get the dentistry that you want in just a few visits. In a safe, comfortable place, you can take a nap and wake up to a new smile.
I was in a car accident. I tried an out-of-town lawyer. The phone would just ring, ring, ring. You call Christian Creed, they're going to answer their phone on the first call.
If you're going to make one call, make it count. Call Creed & Creed today.
It's a difference you can see and taste. Everyday tap water versus water filtered through the new Chief Water Purification System. Installed at your home or business, this system removes chlorine, chemicals, bad taste, and odors from your municipal water source. No more ring buildup around bathtubs. This system will extend the life of your washing machine, dishwasher, and hot water heater. No replacement filters, just a water hose to backflush the filter to keep it clean. It's a clear choice. Call your local distributor at Ken's Coffee Service today.
News sponsored by Banner Ford of MONROE. Live Storm Tracker Doppler Radar sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, Storm Tracker weather with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Look at the new live Storm Tracker Doppler radar brought to you by E. Orem Young. Storms already developing across the Ark-La-Tex region, and most of these storms have come up in intensity pretty quickly over the last hour and a half to 2 hours. And again, with some of these storms, baseball-sized hail is not estimated. It has been observed by storm spotters in northeastern Texas. And as I mentioned, our threats will shift a little bit as we work later on into the night. We start off with the large hail tornadic potential to our north and west, and then those threats evolve as we work through the late evening. Across the region, you can see these storms as they've continued to move eastward. Again, this southernmost storm was the one that had baseball-sized hail with it potentially, and again, observed at times, so I'm actually misspeaking there. That was confirmed baseball hail with that storm. But either way, these will move east, and eventually they evolve from the supercell clusters you kind of see now to more just full-on clustered storms, and then eventually a squall line of thunderstorms that will eventually kind of change that threat from large hail and isolated tornadoes to more of a damaging wind threat. Now, the other hazards still can't be completely ruled out, but they won't be the primary focus. Again, a very volatile atmosphere. Warm, humid, unstable. Usually you don't have fronts like this that can provide that trigger in the atmosphere, and it's also got a pretty healthy upper level disturbance that's fueling through the area as well. Future Tracker shows these storms arriving in the next couple of hours across portions of south central Arkansas. Again, isolated tornadoes with pretty much any severe weather threat. They can't be completely ruled out, but the damaging wind threat is our main concern. These storms move through, and then by midnight they should be well east of our area. Timing is still a little iffy. And then back out to the southwest, could see some additional development across eastern Texas spill into our area, but the atmosphere may be pretty worked over at that point, meaning there's not a whole lot left for those storms to work with, and so they may fizzle pretty quickly. Regardless, most of the rain is just kind of a nuisance and not necessarily a hazard as we go into the morning hours. Maybe some isolated storms tomorrow afternoon, and it's just a mix of sun and clouds, and the heat and humidity is on as we go into the weekend, and we should stay virtually rain-free. So an enhanced risk of severe weather has, that's the level 3 of 5 categories for the western counties and parishes. Slight risk for pretty much everyone else. Marginal risk for the far southern reaches. That's the lowest of the 5 categories, but a threat nonetheless. Again, damaging winds and hail are primary concerns, but ultimately it's the damaging wind potential. Tornado watch in effect till midnight for the counties and parishes you see shaded in red. Again, take a quick look at this map. It's available on my Facebook page if you want to download it and save it, not necessarily for the watch, but for the warning map. That way you have all of these counties and parishes labeled, and if one's issued in your area, you can kind of take a look at that map and know where you are. Again, that's very important, knowing which county and parish you live in. It sounds kind of elementary, but very important things if warnings are issued later on tonight. Upper 80s to low 90s at this point. We look for lows in the low 70s, mid 70s in some spots. Rain chances obviously best before midnight, and the storms wrap up as we head into the pre-dawn hours tomorrow. Low to mid 90s tomorrow. Isolated storms in the afternoon with winds out of the southwest. Oh, look at the rest of the forecast. Virtually rain-free as we go into the weekend. We could have thrown some 10% rain chances in on any given day, but those really shouldn't sneak back in until Sunday. As we look for highs to stay in the low mid-90s, a slow-moving cold front first to next week could bring more rainfall. And it could also knock temperatures back into the upper end of the 80s. Download the KTV EKARD weather app. Take it with you wherever you go. Have multiple ways of receiving severe weather alerts tonight, just in case.
Just in case. Wow, so we may see rain.
Yes, obviously the rain chances are there, but hopefully thinning out in the weekend.
Okay, thanks, Jared. Coming up on Fox 14 at 5:30, lawmakers are taking a closer look at a new Trump administration rule that would make sweeping changes to Title X. We'll tell you how that could impact women's health right after the break.
If you're injured, you can hire us right now from your phone. That's right. You can be signed up in just under 30 minutes. It's never been easier to hire us. Just Google and call me. I'm Attorney Morris Bart. One call or click. That's it.
Hi, I'm Ken with Ken's Coffee Service, your local office coffee and filtered water cooler specialist. Now offering your chief whole home water purification system. Look us up on myarklemist.com.
Having trouble getting approved for a car loan? Let Banner Ford of Monroe go to work for you today. Bankruptcy, divorce, bad credit, no credit. We say, bring it on. Credit problems don't scare us. Banner Ford of Monroe specializes in getting you approved and into that car, truck, or SUV you need today. Call 318-388-3300. That's 388-3300 and get special financing now. The Banner Way, a better way to get approved. I-20 at the Garrett Road exit.
I'm going to take my car. What do I do?
Before the repo man pays you a visit, call Sam. Sam can help you protect your assets and get back items already taken. Bankruptcy isn't what we do, it's all we do. Call Sam. The Vape Escape has all your vaping needs covered. Enjoy the relaxed environment and feel free to sample flavors at our convenient tasting bar. We carry the newest assortment of devices and accessories and have the knowledge and experience to help with any questions. So try and escape. The Vape Escape.
News sponsored by Willis Knighton, home of the healthcare heroes.
Injured in a car wreck?
Call Mars Park.
One call, that's all.
Call 807-1000.
Just Google Morris Park and call. He's on your side.
Car wreck? You need a car wreck attorney.
Do what the people of Monroe have been doing for years. One call, that's all.
News at 5:30 continues.
Lawmakers are taking a look at a new Trump administration rule that would make sweeping changes to Title X. That's the federal program that provides birth control and other reproductive health services to millions of low-income Americans. Fox 14's D.C. correspondent Anna Warnicki reports some lawmakers are warning the new rule is an attack on women.
This is about abortion. This is about trying to limit women from having their full reproductive rights.
Illinois Democrat Jan Schakowsky says there's no room for politics in the exam room.
What we are looking at is the Trump administration deciding to turn back the clock. Women are not going back. This is not going to be tolerated.
A new rule from the Trump administration says clinics that receive federal funds will no longer be able to perform abortions in the same space where they see other patients.
It is addressing the fact that the statute says that these funds may not be used in a program where abortion is a method of family planning.
Dr. Diane Foley with the Department of Health and Human Services says the new rule means doctors can focus on other family planning services like prenatal care and pregnancy counseling.
This rule ensures quality health care for women.
But Cammie Jeffrey with the Women's Health and Family Planning Association of Texas says that would force thousands of clinics who rely on Title X funding to shut down.
When you are targeting certain providers, sometimes your impacts are much broader, and at the end of the day, the real impact is to the communities we serve and the clients we serve.
A federal judge temporarily blocked the rule from taking full effect in May. It could be months before the issue is resolved by the courts. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
A new study is connecting tiring jobs to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes in women. Researchers took a closer look at over 70,000 women who worked a variety of jobs. They found that women who worked jobs that were mentally draining had a nearly 21% risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Study authors concluded that increased levels of cortisol caused by stress can lead to an individual developing insulin resistance, which can eventually cause diabetes. Stressors outside the office can also contribute to a wide range of health illnesses in women. While cosmetic procedures are becoming more popular among baby boomers hoping to return to the dating scene, people born between 1944 and 1964 are apparently looking towards cosmetic procedures and plastic surgery as a way to gain a youthful appearance and make a good first impression on dating apps. Newly released statistics reveal that 50,000 more cosmetic procedures were performed on Americans ages 55 and older in 2018 versus the previous year. Common procedures done were liposuction, hair transplants, breast augmentation, as well as Botox and fillers. Patients believe these procedures can give them an extra boost of confidence. The study was recently published by the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. That's your health news. Up next, Jared has one last look at your 7-day forecast. Keep it right here on Fox 14.
When my employer referred me to Homeland Bank, I went right in and opened an account. I don't pay any fees at all. They treat you very kindly. You walk in the door, everybody says hi, so they know your name. They make you feel like they want you to be there.
We're Homeland Bank, your local bank. Where's your money?
I'm behind on payments, and I'm afraid they're going to garnish my paycheck. What do I do?
Stay calm and call Sam. Let's stop the garnishments before they start, because bankruptcy isn't what we do. It's all we do. Call Sam.
Are you ready for the biggest summer ever? Go big with Altice One from Suddenlink. Now only $54.99 a month for the first year. That's 100 meg internet, 4K Ultra HD TV, over 200 channels, and unlimited data available. Plus, finding the biggest shows is a summer breeze thanks to a newly upgraded operating system and voice-activated remote, enhancing your 4K Ultra HD and cloud DVR experience. Power your home with the all-in-one immersive entertainment experience of Altice One. All you have to do is call 888-628-9058. Act now and receive receive a $150 American Express prepaid card. Stuck in a contract? Then we'll give you up to $500 to get out of it and won't make you sign a new one. Start summer right with big entertainment. Get Altice One for only $54.99 a month for the first year, plus a $150 American Express prepaid card during Suddenlink's big summer deals. Call 888-628-9058 today or visit suddenlink.com. Go big with Altice One, only at Suddenlink.
What do these people have in common? They've given up their negative perceptions, given up their destructive behaviors, given up all those things that were holding them back. When you're ready to start living a healthy, empowered life, Dr. Beatrice Tatum is here. So many people have benefited from Dr. Tatum's expertise. Take the first step to bring wellness into your life.
Uncover your true potential and lead a life worth celebrating. It's never too late.
When we purchased Militello Sports City Grill, we were looking for a bank that was easy to work with. On our checking account, we have no hidden fees. They were very upfront with us. Homeland's just where it's at.
We're Homeland Bank, your local bank. Where's your money?
See the world through Sheldon Vision.
My brain is better than everybody's!
The Big Bang Theory. Tonight at 6:30 on Fox 14. Brought to you by Hickson Ford.
Tornado watch again in effect till midnight for the northwestern quarter of the Arklamas. The only Louisiana parish in that watch currently is Claiborne, but it does include Ouachita, Columbia, and Union counties in southwestern Arkansas again until midnight. I know a lot of that is just outside the Fox 14 viewing area, but if you have friends and family, make a call, let them know, and have ways of receiving severe weather alerts overnight just in case. A mix of sun and clouds for the weekend with highs in the low to mid-90s, morning lows in the mid-70s. Cold front could bring more rain first part of next week.
So everybody needs to stay aware, have multiple ways of receiving
alerts just in case.
Just in case. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us. We'll see you back here at 9. Have a great night.